welcome back to Fight with Honor. I'm your host, Honor Valencia, and today we talk to Ryan Weaver, who proudly served as an active duty Black Hawk aviator, who turned country singer in 2005. We talked about his journey into music while he was still on active duty. Also, his current project to help bring awareness to human trafficking all around the world. He also shared how his family became a 2-time Gold Star family. Ryan and his family have sacrificed so much for the American people, and I really appreciate him coming on. But first, I would like to thank our sponsors, CBD Spectra. They offer CBD patches with 60 milligrams of CBD, organic ingredients, essential oils. They are third-party tested, and the patches are waterproof, so if you have some aches and pains, make sure to check them out to get some relief on Instagram at CBD Spectra, or visit www.spectra.com, that's SPECKTRA.com, and use discount code HONOR15 to get 15% off your purchase. Also, we would like to thank a new sponsor, Runners Sunglasses. They're made for active people, no bounce, no slip, nothing holding you back, because when you move, your sunglasses shouldn't. Spring hinges for a perfect fit, durable frame, sweat and chemical resistant. They're polarized and glare free, lightweight, and really comfortable. I actually have been using these when I get out and run. I don't really love running, but one thing I really don't like is when I have to keep pushing my sunglasses back up. So these things are great. Really recommend you check them out on Instagram at runners_glasses, or go to their website, runnerssunglasses.com, and use discount code HONOR20 to get 20% off your purchase. Okay, so here we go. Here's Ryan Weaver. All right, so here we go. How's everything?
Good, brother, good.
Really appreciate you taking the time. Good busy.
Yeah, I always say I'd rather be busy than broke.
That's true. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't think that way. They'd rather have time, and regardless if they have money or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like to enjoy my life, and I like to, have my off time and be able to relax and whatnot. But I'm sure you're very similar to me in that I'm constantly grinding, and I feel like sometimes when I'm sitting down and doing nothing that's focused on moving forward or, pushing the needle forward, yep. I feel like I get anxious.
Oh, I get restless, man. There's days where, I'll have a free day and I won't do anything. And then the next day it's like a Sunday or something, and we have a family day, and I enjoy my time with my kids. I mean, that's, you got to do that. But I also start thinking like, man, I didn't do anything yesterday. Today I've just been, hanging out all day. So get ready for tomorrow.
Yeah. Those days are few and far between for me, because I work 20. It seems like I work from the moment that I get up to the moment that I go to bed. My mind is constantly going, and then, relaxing and putting the cell phone away and
yeah.
That kind of stuff is really tough to do. I mean, I think the last time that I really spent a day not doing something, I can't even remember when that was. I think I went out on a hunt in Texas with a buddy of mine, and the internet was really, really sketchy there. So we really didn't have anything social media wise, and also didn't have cell phone signal was really bad. But I guess we all got to take those moments in our lives. But for me, I feel like I got to be grinding all the time.
Yeah, sometimes that bad cell phone connection is a blessing.
Yeah, it can be. Well, I'll be in South Dakota after we do this interview first thing in the morning. I fly out there, and the internet and cell phone out there is pretty sketchy too. So it'll be a few days of not, getting text messages all on time and sending out emails and whatnot. And I'll probably be going crazy by the time I get back.
Yeah. I mean, we this summer we went to kind of a little private island type thing where there was zero cell phone connection. We had to be picked up by a boat, and they took us out to this area, and it was good about the first 12 hours. I slept good, woke up. I was like, we got to get back. I'm probably missing a bunch of emails and
Hmm.
Now social media, a lot of people use it for, people like us, we use social media for business as well.
Yeah, it's my lifeline, man.
So, you know, uh, we're not sitting there worried about the likes and all that stuff, but what message came through, what opportunities coming through that we're missing out on. And people don't
Right.
wait for replies so much now anymore.
Oh no, that's the one thing I think that in the culture that we live in now, especially on the business side of things, where social media is a driver, it's kind of one of those, they folks opportunities come along and things happen, and if you don't respond quickly, it seems like
Yeah.
they were thinking about it for a minute and you didn't respond, so then that moment's passed, and it's unfortunate that we're in that circumstance, but everybody knows you're directly accessible now, and you also know that very rarely are people not getting their text messages. So,
Yes. Yes. And then now you can also see when they saw that message. So
yeah,
if they saw it and you don't know what's going on, it could be a
I
family
turned that off.
emergency.
I turned that. You can actually turn that option off on a Samsung. I don't know if you can on an iPhone, but I turn off
Oh,
the red things on it, because if I go to the gym for 2 hours and
yeah.
somebody sees that I read a text but I've been in the gym, because my phone automatically pulls it up and calls it read, then they're going to think that I'm not paying attention to them.
Yep.
And I like to make sure that I get good customer service or good relationships with folks, and they know that I'm readily available.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, there's
it
times,
is what it
when
is.
I'm with my family and you accidentally, the pop-up comes up and you accidentally swipe and it reads it, but I'm like, this is going to be a long conversation. I want to give it
Right.
the time that it needs, but I can't do that right now. But sometimes people's feelings get hurt and they're like, oh, this guy read it. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it is what it
Yeah.
is. What can we do?
What can you do? That's right. But
Um,
hey, I also want to start off by saying thank you so much for your service to our country. That's something that I have the utmost respect, So I really appreciate that. And for a lot of people that don't know, your history with the military and your family's history, would you mind talking about that a little bit?
I went in the Army right out of high school, and
Okay.
then as a military intelligence analyst, was deployed to after. Obviously, that was back in '91 when I first came in, but was deployed to Iraq in 2003. My brother was deployed there shortly thereafter with the 82nd. I was with the 1st Armored Division.
Yeah.
He was a cancer survivor and was non-deployable, and
Cancer
I
survivor.
yeah, he was a cancer survivor, was
Wow.
non-deployable, got a waiver to go. He had to get bi-monthly blood screenings to make sure the cancer didn't come back. And he was going to one of those bi-monthly blood screenings in the back of a medevac helicopter when it was shot down and killed everyone on board. Redeployed from Iraq to to stateside to his funeral. And then I was a sole survivor by the Sole Survivor Act at that point. I was a warrant officer actually at the time. I was an intelligence analyst, but I went to flight school back in 2000. Flew Blackhawks in the Army, was deployed flying Blackhawks for the 1st Armored Division. When Aaron was killed, I decided to start chasing this dream in country music while I was still on active duty. Yeah, I was a tech officer and instructor at Warrant Officer Candidate School for the last few years of my career, and actively pursued this country music thing on the weekends. Did the bar scene, club scene, festival scene, all that, and then
How
retired
many
out of the
years were
military.
you doing that, like a bar scene and club scene and
I was non-deployable for the last 7 years of my career. So
okay.
I was essentially I was a TAC officer, then an academic instructor at Warrant Officer Career College. So I would say probably the last 5 years of my career on the
Okay.
weekends I was doing that. Then I retired out of the military in 2012, moved up to Nashville. Took me about a year and a half to get on my feet and get things, my bearings straight. 2 part-time jobs and going to college full time to finish off my degree in aeronautics with a minor in management from Embry-Riddle. And I met my wife, and she was a godsend. And
Yeah.
her dad and her gave me an opportunity to work with their company and still be able to pursue music. And had they not done that, I don't know where I would be right now.
Yeah.
She was an immense amount of support for me during that time, and she's continued to be an incredible support for me in my music career. But met up with the Charlie Daniels Group in 2013. My brother-in-law was flying in Afghanistan, and his helicopter was brought down by an IED as well, and it killed. There was a passenger that was ejected from the helicopter, but he was piloting the aircraft, and everybody else was killed in action. So we became
Wow.
a 2-time Gold Star family at that point. And then I met up with the Charlie Daniels group, David Corlew, Charlie Daniels manager, and was invited to go play on the Ryman Auditorium stage in 2014, 2015, and played Bridgestone Arena here in Nashville, and then the Grand Ole Opry stage on the Opry House on September 11th of 2015. And we already had Crank It, my music video out, my first music video in 2014. And then in 2016, we came out with Burn, which had the big Chris Peranto and John Tigan from Benghazi and parts of the movie 13 Hour Secret Soldier Benghazi in the video.
Yeah.
And that kind of elevated my career at that point. But that's kind of my military background and what got me to really what's happened in the last couple of years in my career. So you're looking at 2017, 18 were really when things started skyrocketing.
What's been going on since then, since 2017? You got a lot of projects going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, 2016, I did a nonprofit event out in Colorado Springs called Freedom Fest and opened up for Dokken, Warrant, and Jack Russell's Great White,
Nice.
3 80s rock bands. Yeah, and the CEO of the Professional Bull Riders was in the front row, and he liked my story and liked the show and brought me on to be the quote unquote patriotic voice of the Professional Bull Riders in 2007. Yeah. And in 2017, we recorded a 4-song EP called Celebrate America. It's out there. Anybody can download it.
Okay.
So at that point, we had Crank It, which is a music video everybody can find on YouTube. There was a New Set of Tires. It's just a single with no music video. And then we had Burn. That was a music video. And then we recorded this Celebrate America EP that's out there as well. And we did a tribute music video called Never Forgotten that folks can check out as well.
Yeah.
Then I started in 2017 at the World Finals in Las Vegas and performed the headlining. Steven Tyler from Aerosmith was the headliner 2016. I was the headliner 2017 inside T-Mobile Arena for the World Finals. And
World Finals of
Professional Bull Riders.
Bull Riders. Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible to play to a sold out arena for my first arena show with them. And then the first show in 2018 was Madison Square Garden with them. And we did every single major arena across the nation. If folks go on and look up Ryan Weaver, AT&T Stadium, we got one of my performances in front of 46,000 plus at AT&T Stadium with the Dallas Cowboys play.
Awesome.
And, but I toured across the nation honoring our fallen law enforcement, first responders, and military through all of 2018. And in 2019, I did 4 shows with the U.S. and then also 3 shows over in Australia with the Australian PBR. And I've been invited to come back again this year to do a few more shows with them in Australia as well. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
But we've got, we released a single in March called Arrival, released another single in May, I believe it was, called Time Like This. Okay. So there's a single called Arrival out there and a single called Time Like This. Great workout songs, Burn, Arrival, Crank It. All of them are tempo workout songs, kind of good fun stuff. And then started on the project about 3-4 months ago for Arrival, a short film / PSA on human trafficking.
Yes.
And Arrival is actually going to be, it initially was going to be a music video, but we turned it into a short film that we're going to be giving to every single human and sex trafficking organization across the United States and globally if they want it, for unlimited use to add their PSA, their public service announcement for their organization to the end of it. And we'll have a collateral music video to support that effort as well on a different, to give it 2 different media platforms to promote the human trafficking awareness. And that one's we're in the funding phase for that right now. So we have all kinds of, options available for sponsorships and personal contributions that we can get information out to anybody on. So
yeah, I'll make sure to add that information to this. Is there like a minimum or like with the package deals that you guys have for sponsorship? We
have, for individual contributions, anybody can contribute anything that they really want to. We have levels where, if you do a $50 contribution, we're given a signed autograph, an autograph CD. knowing that you're contributing to supporting a cause that's going to be incredible. And then it just goes up from there as far as the individual contributions. We also have corporate sponsorships and corporate product placement sponsorships for companies that want to get their, let's say a firearm company wants to get their firearm highlighted in part of the thing, because we have 3 of the Benghazi heroes in this instead of 2 this time. So we got John Tighe and Chris Peranto, who are both in Burn, but we've also got Dave Benton, who's Boone in the movie, if you've ever seen it. He's the one that said all the gods are the is it all the gods, all the heavens, all the earths are within you. Anyway, but that was right before Tonto did his little flashlight dance. And but anyway, but we've got 3 of those guys. We got Craig, former Navy SEAL Craig Sawman Sawyer, who is the founder of Vets for Child Rescue, is in it. JP Cervantes, JP Cervantes, Special Operations, now doing cross-border rescue. Several, and Brandon Tatum, Officer Tatum, for he's more in the political spectrum now, but previous law enforcement officer, SWAT as well. So a pretty stout cast, a few more folks that are involved in that project. But I think we wanted to have a legitimate message and a legitimate and make it as it's actually based off of actual events. So what we're going to be focusing on is telling a real story about what's on our doorstep, and that it's not just Hollywood. It's not just a movie like Taken, where you have somebody who's it's a normal. It's happening all over the United States right now. A $30+ billion a year industry, and over 300,000 women and children have been trafficked into the business just this past year. To think about those numbers is just staggering. But
but I mean, we hear about it, but we don't really hear statistics or numbers. And we think sometimes it's so far away. We kind of associate that, at least I used to, with other countries. I used to hear about it in different countries and all that stuff. But I mean, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, a lot of folks on the one side of political issues that I normally, I'm a fact kind of guy, and I spoke with the chief of the Border Patrol at an event that I did with her, the current chief of Border Patrol, and the things that folks talk about. I think that you and I spoke about this a little bit, but the family separations at the borders and those kind of things. With this epidemic that's happening right now, it's so difficult when you have undocumented border crossings with children involved in it, because the children's protection is the priority. And if you don't know, when you're talking about, I think they were saying 1 in 5 children that are coming across the border are potential, human trafficking. That's coming across the border into the United States. Imagine what's going out of the United States, because it's just crazy the numbers that are happening in both directions. So it's a huge problem that we need to obviously take a look at. And it's also kind of a taboo subject that people aren't comfortable talking about, because you're talking about pedophiles, and anytime somebody says pedophile, it kind of makes you cringe. It makes me cringe, especially with I mean, my kids are in their 20s now, but the folks that, I mean, my friends and family members and my nieces and nephews and that are young, to think about them being in, all age groups, all demographics. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what sex you are. There are folks that are being trafficked. It's hitting everybody. So, we want to talk about it. We want to show the realistic side of it. We want to show a genuine message, and we want it to be inclusive to all the different organizations and what they do, for in the fight against human trafficking. So we're hoping that we can get this out there across the nation, if not globally, when this thing gets done. And we just got to get it funded first.
Yeah, and another thing about kind of touching on the taboo is, whenever you say border, people automatically want to start talking about something else. I told you kind of my story growing up and things like that. And, but like you said, it's 1 in 5 are potentially being crossed through the border for sex trafficking. I mean, that's a pretty big number. So
or slave trafficking, or just so on the greater scope of things, not even um, you have kids that are being trafficked to be family members
yeah,
of other people. You have kids that are being trafficked, or folks that are being trafficked into the sex trafficking side of it, and then you also have slave labor trafficking as well. I mean, there's so many different subcomponents to the human trafficking effort, and all of them involve obviously some sort of abuse and some sort of control over another human being. And the human rights side of it is absolutely tragic. But we want to make sure that we can make as much of a difference. And I have a choice to be able to do any kind of music that I want to.
yeah,
I have a choice to do party, kick up your boots and drink beer and do whatever. I
yeah,
mean, I have some of those songs too, but
yeah,
I choose to create music and messages that are going to make a difference if they can. And
yeah.
my hopes are with this that we make a truly global impact.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me to see when people like you that are trying to make a difference with their talent, their craft, whatever it is they're doing. It's a lot of times it's not pushed as much as the people that are just singing songs about nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when it comes to the music industry, someone told me a long time ago, and folks can believe this or not believe it, but I've seen it to be true more than not, is that uh, when I came into Nashville, because Nashville is about, they don't call it the music passion. They don't call it the music, the music heart. They don't
Mm,
call it the music. They call it the music business.
mm,
And just like any other business,
yeah,
you have to have a product that sells. And um, what it also takes a lot of money to make money. But what I was told when
yes,
I came into Nashville is there are two things that ultimately are going to make you successful in the music business. One, who you know, and two, how much money you have. And
yeah,
really, if you apply that not necessarily just to the music business, but to any business in general, it's absolutely 100% true. You
yeah,
have you have to be able to have cash to invest into a product to be able to get that product out, because you can spend $1 million on a widget and $0 in getting it out there, or you can spend $10 on a widget and $1 million in getting it out there and make your money back.
yeah,
But anyway, you have to be able to have the funding to get that out there, and the investment money and the funding has to take place. But the thing is, you also have to know where, or know who can get you in the doors, or who can get those meetings that you have to be able to get that product out there just the same. I mean,
yeah. Or if you
really,
don't have the money, you got to know somebody that has it to invest in you, and then you end up losing, a percentage of your business, but a percentage of some cash is better than 100% of no cash.
right. Absolutely. I mean, when it comes to having investors in a project or backers of a project, it's just like, it doesn't have to do just, it's not just music, it's everything,
Yeah,
Um, I mean, all these a lot of the companies, major companies that are out there, obviously have you have to have that foundation to build from. So, even with the music business, it costs money to do everything. It costs money to record. It costs money to make business cards, all the way down to that basic level. So
yeah,
it's how much money you can put into it, but then how much. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can have a ton of money and you can know everybody in the world and still not be successful, but
yes,
it's really hard to do that if you don't know anybody, or you don't have the funding to be able to make it happen.
yeah,
So I mean, that holds true more than not. But I mean, I would say for me, because I've never had a huge investor come behind me or anything like that. I've established a lot of relationships that have helped me be successful outside of the box of the norm. So having messages like I've had, am I going to ever be a mainstream top 40 artist? I don't know. Is someone going to take a look at the stuff that I've done and say, hey, we need to get this guy on the radio, and somebody needs to put money behind him, big money behind him to do it? Because it's extremely expensive and everybody knows
yes,
that down. Um, that's a possibility. I'm never going to say that isn't going to happen. But as I've gotten further in this business, I've been able to find ways with my 9 line partnerships or my boot line or
Yeah.
my sock line or the different partnerships that I've got to
What
be
are the
able
names
to.
of those? What are the names of those companies you're just talking about? So you got the nine
So,
lines.
so you have Ryan, if you go to 9lineapparel.com,
Okay.
search Ryan Weaver. I'm one of the partner brands with them. I have
Okay.
a pair of my own cowboy boot line called the Old Glory by Lane boots. It's
Okay.
Lane boots.
Okay.
The Ryan Weaver Old Glory boots. Soldier socks, SOLEDIER socks. I have a
Okay.
Heroes line with them. Forged America does all my leather, and we've got a red bracelet cuff that's with them. I've got Liberty Home Concealment. It's a flag company. This is actually the Heritage Flag Company behind me, but Liberty Home Concealment actually has concealment devices for your firearms, for your home
Oh
protection
wow.
plan, lockable flags, and also furniture. But I personally have a Heroes line with them that's lockable flags. Oh, I got Patch Ops is a veteran-owned company as well. I have a
Okay.
Heroes collection with Patch Ops as well. So you can go on patchops.com
Okay.
and look up Ryan Weaver, and you'll find we have decals and patches and all that kind of stuff that are
Sounds
specific
good.
to Purple Heart, Gold Star, Heroes,
Yeah.
Heroes flags, all that stuff. So
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. I mean, the human trafficking project you got going on. That's when we were talking about that last time after we got off the phone. I was at the gym, and I couldn't even work out. I didn't even have that great of a workout because I was just the numbers that you were telling me, and then I was researching it, and I was like, man, this is such a big problem that we don't even think about, and it's crazy. Yeah, hopefully there'll be a lot of people that'll get behind you guys and support you guys to get this message out there, and they'll look past just when they hear the words border or things like that. They're going to see that you guys are actually trying to do something positive here, especially for kids.
well, just so everybody that's listening to your podcast here, it's not just the Mexican border.
Yeah.
It's the entire coasts of the United States on every border that this is happening through, and it's not just going through Mexico or whatever. That is obviously as a landlocked situation, it's one of the major routes coming through.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's happening through the Canadian border. It's happening all over the place. Obviously, it's more difficult to hit a coastline when it's monitored the way that it is and not be caught on that regard. But it's happening all over the place,
Yeah.
in and out, in and out of the country. It's happening all over the place. But so yeah, I mean, it's also happening in the country and staying here. See that
Yeah.
that's another thing. Is it's like when you're talking about pedophiles going online and attracting kids through the dark web or through games or apps on their phones or whatever
Yeah.
it may be. There's so many different, this TikTok thing, and I mean, there's so many things that are out there, opportunities for. I mean, I get messages on Instagram daily of somebody just saying hi, and it's
Yeah.
somebody scantily clad, and I block them immediately. But
Yep.
if I'm a kid that's got an Instagram page or a teenager that's got an Instagram page, you never know if they're actually communicating with those folks, and you don't know where those folks are coming from. And 9 times out of 10, they're not coming from a good place.
No.
So, I mean, for us to be able to, I think that the message behind this is that we as a community of Americans together can police our communities and do more about it, and support the fight. With this film, we've got a lot of assets that we need to get funded, like aviation and obviously the logistics of getting everybody down there along with the crew. We want to
Yeah.
make this a film that's competitive with any film that's on television, Netflix, or in the movies. And really, I mean, if you watch my music video Burn, we funded that through individual donations and a couple of small corporate product placement sponsorships. We didn't really fund that with major corporate product placement sponsorships, but the budget on this is significantly higher for us to be able to get it going.
Yeah.
So, as everybody listens to your podcast and you have the links up there, I'll give you the corporate product placement link, and then
Okay.
also we have the Indiegogo campaign that we just started yesterday. Actually, we have an Indiegogo campaign for individual contributions. So if
Okay.
anybody, those Indiegogo contributions go all the way up to presenting sponsor.
Yeah.
And then all the way down, the smallest one that we have is $50, but that doesn't mean you can't give $20.
Yes.
You don't. Indiegogo allows you don't necessarily have to do a specific level of contribution. You just, if you want something in return for your contribution, there are certain levels that you can contribute and claim something that we have to offer for it. So
yeah. We'll definitely get those links up and hopefully get some people to do some donations. That would be great. How long do you think it will take you once you start filming to complete? If you had full funding, what would the time frame be?
Well, our goal initially was to release in the fall and film in the spring. So I kind of went backwards: spring, film in the spring, and in April. But I went to SHOT Show, and if some of your listeners out there know about SHOT Show, it's essentially the industry-wide, anything hunting, guns, you name it, ammunition, military, you name it, anything that has to do essentially with firearms. That was a big corporate product placement sponsorship thing for us, because we have a 3-pronged assault that's going to happen in the film itself, and we need obviously firearms and body armor and helmets and everything that's going to be required for a realistic takedown of a human trafficking organization. It's a lot of logistics, it's a lot of things, but anyway, we're at SHOT, and that really to speak with the big companies like the Sig Sauers or the Hornadies, or those companies that are out there in the gun world. It takes time to make the decisions to release the money and that kind of stuff. And then we just I just started putting in the individual contributions because we wanted to kind of get a temperature check on how long it was going to take us for the corporate product placement sponsorships, and that process is a little bit more lengthy than obviously taking individual contributions. But we get 1,000 people that do a $50 contribution, and we've got a really good dent in all of the logistics that go behind it. And then we get another 1,000 that or let's say another 500 obviously that do 1,000. Then we've got this thing almost funded. So we've got a ways to go with it. But to answer your question, we may end up moving the filming back a little bit to facilitate for the larger corporate product placement sponsors that take more time. And then the release is still scheduled in the fall because we could move the release to the spring of 2021. Right now, right now everything is still scheduled, because I could have somebody say that they want to be the presenting sponsor tomorrow, and that's going to cover the largest, a significant portion of funding. And then we could get this thing funded, by the beginning of March, and we're ready to go in April, because we need 4 weeks of pre-production to make it happen. But that's kind of, we've got the rest of the month to do that in. And honestly, Burn was funded in a very, very short period of time. And it was about half the budget of what we need to get this thing started for everything involved. But it was actually funded pretty quickly.
That's good.
Once it really started getting steam on the funding and folks started really getting involved with the project, the folks out there that are listening, to understand the level of people that we've got involved in this and the legitimacy behind it. A lot of folks sometimes, where's the money going to? Do I know whether I could trust the cause? Do I know whether I could trust this person? I haven't been in the entertainment business and gotten to the level that I've gotten without a strong reputation of being genuine and truthful and making sure that folks know that I'm coming from the right place. But everybody else that we've also got involved in this project are all pretty high up in the tactical and shooting industry and the non-human trafficking, profit world. You don't get to the positions that these guys have been in by being dishonest and doing things the wrong way. And that's really, I wanted to make sure when we kind of casted everybody involved in this, that they had really strong reputations for what they do for a living, and also in the community around them for the work that they do in the communities around them. Because we needed to, when you talk about a subject that's this sensitive, you need to make sure that everybody that's on board is doing it for the right reasons and wants to be part of this, to make a difference. So
Yeah, that's true. Getting the right people involved is always such a big, part of what you're doing. And like you said, make
Right.
sure they're doing it for the right reasons, not
Right.
have different reasons to get behind something like this.
Yeah.
And
And this, just so you know, everybody that's out there, and I apologize for interrupting you, but
no, no
everybody
problem.
that's out there listening, every single penny that goes to this is going, or that is brought in for this is going to either one, produce the film, or two, get it out there. So
Yeah,
all the money is separate from all of my other business dealings. It's all going into a different bank account, and that budget is coming straight out of that bank account for all of the production, all of the marketing, anything. It's going to take us to be able to get it to film festivals, because I guess that costs money. I'm learning as I'm
yeah,
going along. It costs money to get out there, and the more film festivals recognize it, the possibility of it turning into, say, a Netflix series or an HBO original, or something like that, and turning it into a feature film as opposed to just a short film. Those are all possibilities. But if we can't get it to the films and get or the film festivals and get the recognition, or get it to the people who can actually take a look at it, which sometimes costs money, unfortunately.
yes,
um,
yes.
if we can't get it to those, then I think that we're gonna short shoot this, I guess is the best way of saying it, and not do it full justice, because it really needs to get out there as far and wide as possible.
Yeah, and I think something a lot of people don't realize is, they see all these film festivals and all the celebrities, and they think, wow, their movie got picked up. Yeah, they have to pay to be there. They have to pay for their movie to be presented. Even the Super Bowl, if you perform at the Super Bowl, you have to pay. So a lot of
Yeah,
people don't realize that.
there's a lot of advertisement and things that you get selected to do that kind of stuff, and obviously it's an invaluable exposure for you as an
Yeah,
artist, and that. But the the gist of everything when it comes to short films is that there are a lot of short films being made all the time, and what can you do to make it stand out? How can you get it recognized? How can you get it to where it's going to go far and wide beyond just the reach of the organizations that are, and the organizations in the United States? I mean, tens of thousands of organizations. There's going to be a lot of opportunity to get it out that way, but to get it out to the world market, and to get it out there where people are really paying attention to it, that's really where the marketing dollars come into play. Social media campaigns, YouTube campaigns, the different things like that, to get it the max recognition that it needs. And I'll say this straightforward. I know that there are going to be collateral positive effects for me as an artist. There are going to be
yeah,
performance speaking opportunities and those things. But the majority, all it's going to do is provide me another opportunity to get out there and speak about the message, and talk about why we did what we did, as opposed to me just doing a music video, on the back of a pickup truck. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's
yeah,
entertainment, but
yeah,
that's why did I decide to do this as opposed to just doing a country music video for mainstream radio. So
yeah. And I'd like to go back, to ask you about when you first got started in your
mm,
music career. What was that like for you? What were the emotions? Just like, everything that you have gone through in the military and with your family and everything. How was that like emotional ride for you to get that started?
well, quite honestly, it was about hard work more than it was about anything else. It was about
Mm,
dedicating myself to an idea and a dream, and making a decision that that's what I was going to do. Because I did the Fort Rucker Military Idol competition, which was a singing competition, and I won that. And because I was a runner-up, the guy that won went to national championships, and the national that weekend, Tracy Lawrence and Daryl Worley played at Fort Rucker for the 50th anniversary of Fort Rucker. And that's when I met the non-commissioned officers that were playing off post, and a rock band off post, and they needed country music. And really, like I say, everything good, bad, and different in my life has happened for a reason. And I look at it,
yeah,
God's got control of it. And I look at the circumstance, and for me, it gave me the ability to. It was an outlet, obviously, but I didn't realize that it was something that I was passionate about and that I really loved to do, until I started performing in the singing competition, the karaoke competitions, prior to going, while I was in flight school, prior to deployment.
yeah,
But then when I got, and it was winning them. But then when I got back, and getting out in the bar scene and the club scene and festival scene, and setting goals for myself to move to the next level, in certain timelines and actually achieving those goals faster than
Hmm.
normal. I can't say that. I don't know if it was any more difficult for me because of what my family went through, or if it was easier because I had a fuel to my fire that was
Yeah.
probably that was probably difficult to match. Because once, I was doing it in Aaron's honor when I first got started, and I made a promise to tell his story every time I got on stage, and I knew that it was giving me an opportunity to do that. But I also loved it. I mean, I
Yeah.
love being a performer. I love getting and being able to make an impact on a crowd and being able to connect with an audience that had never seen you before or heard your music or whatever. Then when I started incorporating original material into the set, that it was just part of the transition to, like, right now, most of my show is, I would probably say, 75% original material when we play. And I love that. I'm able to play original material in my concerts and people really respond to it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if that answered your question kind of in a roundabout way.
No, it
But
does. Yeah.
that's kind
And
of how it all went down.
speaking, we were talking about movies, and then you just brought up how you were doing this in your brother's honor and everything. And I remember reading that the movie Black Hawk Down.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about that? How your brother was involved
So he
with
was in the Bravo Company, 35th Ranger Regiment when he was one of the Rangers on the ground in Black Hawk Down. So, and he was actually the only non-commissioned officer to get shot in that whole thing, is my understanding. No, and he survived that. But yeah, he was one of the Rangers in the actual event that the movie was made after.
that the movie was based on.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I watched that movie when it first came out, and it's a very impactful movie, but
Mhm.
it's still just a movie to us. We get to go home after and
Yeah.
watch it again if we want, and it's entertainment. We're like, man, that's crazy. But when it touches close to somebody that you're talking to, it just really changes how you view situations like that. What you guys go through.
Right. No, I mean, that's kind of been the same way as getting to know the Benghazi guys and talking to them about it, and what happened with them, and there. But if you get an opportunity, there is a History Channel interviews for the making of Black Hawk Down. My
Oh,
brother
okay.
actually, my brother actually talks in there. There's a 3-disc package that you can get of the making of, or something else, and then the making of Black Hawk Down. But the first time I heard him talk after he died was in that interview, and I lost it. It was tough.
Oh, wow.
Every time I see him and I hear him talk, when I watch it, I can't keep myself straight. But even though it's been as long as it's been since he's been gone,
Yeah,
but yeah, check it out. You'll see he
I
speaks in it a
will.
couple of times. Yeah.
I will. I'm gonna go online and see if I can find that whole set, and I'm gonna buy that. That's the thing. I think a lot of us, especially with military movies, if it's based on real events, we should go and see the making of the movie. We should put in that other DVD and listen to
Yeah.
people's stories, and it makes it have a much stronger connection to our military service. And we can
Yeah.
appreciate them a lot more, and the families. It's not only the people that are on the ground fighting, it's also the families back home that are sacrificing for us.
Yeah, and this is also, for this short film that we're doing, that's one of the reasons why we're wanting to get a lot of behind the scenes and different
Yeah.
things, so we can have that additional making of the film, and how things came about, and that stuff. So it's all that stuff is important to folks that want to know the realistic side of what we're watching in the movie screen and on the movie screen, and how much of it is legitimate, and because Hollywood always has to change things up just a little bit to
Yeah.
make it entertaining, or timeline wise, or whatever it may be. But yeah, man.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody stays in their seats for all the bloopers, all the funny parts that happen in the movies. So that'd be nice for people to also stay put to see, the real life stuff going on in the movies that are
Yep.
made. So
Absolutely.
yeah, and one other thing, you said thank God. If you listen to the media and you watch, if the TV or internet, it seems like there's so many people that don't have faith anymore. But everybody I talk to most of the people that I talk to are still, thanking God for things that are happening in their lives. I know with me, with the 3 times I almost lost my life to lupus, it was my faith that brought me through. How's faith helped you and everything that you've been through in your life?
Well, I think that I've been asked multiple times as to whether I questioned um, why God, why am I going through the circumstances that I'm going through,
Yeah.
and am I did I question the Lord for the troubles that I was going through, and my there so many things that happen in our lives they're not meant for us to understand.
Yeah.
And if you I think that, and I don't want to say that I'm judging anybody else by any
Yeah.
stretch of the imagination, but um, it's a bit of ego associated with asking, um, thinking that you have control over what is going to happen to you. I mean,
Yeah.
you can work, what you're capable of doing, but ultimately, if when it's your time, it's not your time to choose, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, I can't change. I don't rationalize the situation and thinking I could change it. Do I wish that the situation was different every single second? Do
Of
I,
course.
I would I want it to be? But I think that a lot of folks, when circumstances like this happen, they get angry, and they're angry, period, and they need to find a way to justify that anger. Um, I've never I've been obviously incredibly sad that this happened, and I was incredibly sad for my sister when she lost her husband, and
Yeah.
um, incredibly sad for Aaron's daughter and our family as well for both circumstances. Um, but I've never questioned, not one. I mean, I've had no reason to question why, because really, if you think about it on the human side of things, there is no answer to that question.
Yeah.
And that's on the human side of things. And it's in those moments that we have to understand that God um, is not thinking on the same level that we're thinking, and God's not doing things on the level that we're doing things. And we can't let that knowledge that it's happening slip, even
Yeah.
even in our darkest moments. So that for me is probably my driving factor.
I think a lot of people, that's what we look for. We look for answers. When I was sick, I would ask, like, why is this happening to me? I was living a great life. I was in LA. I was, parties all the time, just enjoying life. Got sick. And the first time, it was pretty scary. And second time and third time, by the third time around, my faith was pretty intact. I was already accepting that this is what I had to go through. But the first time was a big test for me, man. That was definitely a big test
Sure.
for sure. Yeah. Well,
Well,
yeah,
and
I
it
appreciate
doesn't.
you sharing that.
I don't think it makes a human any more weak,
Yeah.
because they're questioning it. I mean, I can't say that I'm any stronger because I didn't question it. There is a lot of, I think that you and I may have talked about this before, but I have talked about it before that, there are a lot of folks out there that have lost their siblings or their loved ones in combat and been able to go right back at it again.
Yeah.
And then there are some folks that crash helicopters in the aviation world and just or crash their aircraft in the aviation world and just get right back to flying again. I couldn't see myself getting in a cockpit. I couldn't even look up in the sky for 2 years if I knew a Black Hawk was flying over because it hurt so
Wow.
bad. So everybody deals with the obstacles that they have to deal with in life differently. And that's why when when anybody's going through their hardships or their troubles, I don't judge other folks or say you should be doing this or you should be doing that or whatever it is. If there's any advice that I can give to say this is the way that I did it, and if it helps,
Yeah.
it helps. But it's not my position to tell somebody whether they should or shouldn't be questioning what God is doing in their lives or whatever. It's their choice to do it, and it's their path to find the truth in it. So for me, I think I'm happy and feel comfortable in my position and not questioning it because I'm not at the level where I should be questioning it, if you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
and that's pretty similar to what I do when people ask me, like, how can you still have faith? How's, everything you've been through? And I just, I don't try to push my faith or my beliefs on anybody. But when they ask me, I'll tell them this is what works for me. You're asking me, so I'm telling you how it's helped me in my life. If that can help
Right.
you, that's great. And
Yep,
that's basically all we
absolutely.
can do. Some people are in different situations in their lives, and they're maybe not ready to hear something positive at that moment. But maybe next
Right.
month, or you said it took you 2 years to even look up.
Yeah.
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 So you never know, when someone's going to be ready to start moving forward. So
Yeah,
all we can do is
absolutely.
share our experiences.
Yep, and hope that it makes a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah, man, really appreciate your time and sharing your story with us. So
Well, I
hopefully we
appreciate you
can.
having me on,
Yeah,
man.
no
I know that
problem.
it took us a little bit to get connected, and I appreciate your patience. My life was a little bit crazy there for a little bit, and it's
Yeah.
next couple months it's going to be nuts too. So I'm glad we kind of caught it right in between. I'm going to start doing a lot of traveling here in the next couple of months. So
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, we were supposed to be on yesterday too, but it was a holiday here in Japan, so
right,
kids were running around and stuff, so it wouldn't have been that good.
right on, man, right on. Well,
But
cool.
again, I
I'll get
really
you those
appreciate
links,
it.
man.
Yeah,
Thanks, brother. I
sounds good,
appreciate you
brother. I
too.
hope everything goes well, and I'll get the word out there. And God bless, man.
Thanks, man. Back at you.
All right, talk to you later.